You're listening to the Multifamily Mentor Show.
My name is Terrence Doyle.
And I'm Chris Lopez. You probably know us from the BiggerPockets Real Estate Ride-Along Show. Well, now we're talking everything multifamily. We bring in top industry experts from around the country to come join us in our Denver studio for an in-depth, in-person conversation.
We're going to be diving deep into deals, underwriting, raising capital, and everything in between. Join the conversation.
What's up, BiggerPockets? Today, we have a great episode with a young lady making some great moves in the multifamily sector, Alessandra Thompson. So we got two videos coming up. This first one's an interview with her. The second one, stay tuned. We walk a property and we go through her 7-step underwriting process. And of course, make sure you like, subscribe, put your questions, comments. We will all answer them. My co-host, Terrence Doyle. What's up, Terrence?
Chris, good morning. We've had a lot of action and the morning's just getting started. So really excited for this interview. I think to set the stage here, in season 2, we realized that we want to focus on younger operators and specifically female operators around the country. There's so many, this is a male-dominated sport to date, and we're trying to change the narrative that you can be any age and you can be a female and totally crush it in multifamily investing. So one of the things that drew us to Alessandra was just her story and how she has overcome a bunch of odds and challenges, roadblocks, and is working for a super reputable company in Nashville, has already closed on one multifamily deal, is raising money for her next deal. And I think there's a lot of action points and learning lessons for, the 18-year-old version Alessandra out there that's maybe graduating from high school, currently in college, and is like, you know what? I really want to get into multifamily. I just don't know how. And Alessandra's story is going to outline some action steps on what to do, how to get someone's attention, how to get an interview, how to get a seat at the table in what we believe to be a great industry of multifamily investing. So, Alessandra, welcome to the show. I've really enjoyed getting to know you the last 24 hours. Welcome to Multifamily Mentors.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here. I'm grateful just to be a voice for other people to know that they can get started in this industry. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is going to be amazing. And so take us all the way back, maybe to high school, to college, maybe growing up. Tell us what you were like, what it was like growing up, what you really wanted to do, and how you got to be in the position that you're in now.
Yeah, so I grew up in California, over in Los Angeles, near Pasadena, California, and I never really knew what direction I wanted to head in. My dad was a film producer. My mom likes to travel. She was a yoga teacher, and so I was trying to find my guidance, trying to find my spot in this world. I went to college over in Long Beach, California, and then
What was your degree in?
Marketing. And then after college, I joined a marketing job over in Los Angeles, and I couldn't really get accustomed to the 9-to-5 life. For me, it just was a lot of like this repetition of doing something where maybe I don't love doing this, and I know I can live out my full potential to something else. And so I was just kind of living like in a rat race. And then when COVID happened, I was able to just kind of get in touch with myself. And in Los Angeles, there's a lot of traffic out there. So I was in the car for like 3 hours a day, and that was just soul crushing for me. And so when COVID happened, I was able to just be like, where should I put my time? What do I want to get into? And I started just researching ways of how can I find my financial independence. And so looked into index funds, looked into selling things online, and then real estate kind of clicked for me. And then I went to visit my brother over in Florida in the summer, and he was doing solar panel sales, so door to door. I just decided to visit him, but I ended up staying there the whole summer, and it ended up being a very lucrative position for me just because I was able to really get out of my comfort zone and it's a lucrative job. So, but very tough because you're doing door to door knocking in 100-degree heat. And after that, I was like, okay, I want to find my place now that I have some money of where I should park it into real estate. And so I moved to Utah in the winter, and I was like, I'm going to get a duplex. I'm going to house hack one side and then live in the other. And that was just in my head. I was like, I'm going to get rid of all my capital like this. So it doesn't seem like something I should do. And how can I scale larger? And that's when I started researching into multifamily, looking at Clubhouse, networking with different individuals, and just finding my place of what's going to work for me. And then I moved to Nashville in March just to find the operator my mentor now, and someone that I work with very closely. And I quit my marketing job, and now I'm in this full time. That was a lot to unpack, but that's just like the basic background.
Well, let's back it up because, I mean, because you put a lot in there, but also like the fact that you made a move out to Nashville. Like, let's dive into that because that's a big move. Yeah. But also, like, it's a defining move for your career, both as a professional, also an investing standpoint. So rewind a little bit. Yeah. Why Nashville, and how'd you make that connection? Because, like, you took action, but you also went out there and found a great mentor, which is super important.
Yeah. So I just joined Clubhouse when it opened back in December. And I was just getting on like this.
So pause. Let's talk about Clubhouse. So tell us about Clubhouse, because a lot of people, maybe they're just Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, right? Yeah. Maybe YouTube. Maybe they're just on BiggerPockets. So walk us through, explain to the audience what Clubhouse is, how you found it, and your interaction and how consistent and frequent you're on the app.
So it's like a networking platform. People basically can join different rooms in different sectors. You can see what topic is trending or whichever one you want to go into, and you can raise your hand to get on stage and introduce yourself. And so that's what I was always doing is in the real estate rooms. It could be any topic out there in the world, but I was always just following real estate rooms and getting notifications of if it's something I was interested in, the multifamily space, in the single family space, whatever your heart desired. Like, you could join the room, go up there, add value to someone, ask whatever question you felt like asking. I would just go up there and say, hey, I'm Alessandra and I'm looking to do this. And I'd ask a very specific question instead of just, I think that's also something to note is like, be very specific in what you're asking to be able to provide value for others. And just,
can you give an example? Because I think I know what you mean, but like that's a really
it's when people reach out to you and stuff and they're like, I want a mentor versus, hey, what do you think would be a better financing loan or like a floating rate or a long-term debt, like something like that, so you can have a conversation other people can learn from as well and get value from instead of just something basic.
That's a great point. So let's unpack that. So the name of the show is Multifamily Mentors, right? And so one of the things that Alessandra did super well that she's talking about right now is how she got someone's attention that's a thought leader in the space, right? Right now you work for one of the top, multifamily families maybe in the country, Jason and Pili, and they're based out of Nashville, and we'll unpack, who they are and what they do later. But you have a really lucrative position because of the knowledge that they have and their track record and experience. And you were able to get Pili's attention based on the questions and your involvement in this social media app during COVID. So why the rest of the world maybe, taking breaks or vacations or just enjoying the time off, you took initiative and were like, I'm going to get active in social media and try and pursue my dreams, right? So that's point number one is you weren't just sitting on the sidelines. Yeah, you showed up and you were on the app. I think you told me every day, every week.
I was having like every person that I spoke to, I would reach out to them afterwards and say like, hey, this was a really good conversation because X, Y, and Z. Could we hop on a phone call? I just want to introduce myself, something like that. So staying consistent and then following up, even if you're not getting that return, just making sure that you're staying consistent and always showing up, posting on LinkedIn and introducing yourself. So
I love it.
Yeah. I followed Pili for a very long time.
Yeah. So I know, I love that. So one of the things that really stood out to me when you and I first spoke was that, it's pretty uncomfortable to ask for help and to reach out and to follow up even when they don't respond. I mean, I can't tell you how many times early on I would reach out to brokers, when I was transitioning from single family to multifamily and get no response. I mean, it's like not the best feeling to see 3 emails that just are one-sided. It's not the best feeling, but
I know all about it.
Exactly. So the thing that I love, Alessandra, is that, when you were coming into Clubhouse, you were not just looking and sending a message like, hey, will you mentor me? Or, hey, can we get on a call? You were asking relevant questions where people, their antenna would go up and say, oh, there's something different about her. She actually must be in the game. She's asking specific, relevant, value add questions. And so that's the first thing, is to get people's attention that are thought leaders that could be potential mentors or partners or job opportunities. Yeah. You have to ask relevant questions. It can't just be, hey, will you mentor me? I mean, how many emails, Chris, or text messages or DMs a week do you get from people all around Colorado that are like, hey, Chris, can I get a job? Chris, will you mentor me? Chris, can I get on a phone call with you? I mean, I don't even check Instagram, but anytime that I do, there's 25 to 30 messages, something related to, hey, can I talk to you? Will you help me? Will you mentor me? Like, will you? Versus adding value, asking something relevant, asking something thought-provoking that's going to get my attention.
I call those like generic and weak messages. It's just generic. It's like, okay, you want a mentor. That's such a generic, and it's a weak question.
Like, tell me your story, but you don't have the time to like do that, instead of more like something that you actually want to respond to, of like, oh, they actually know what they're talking about in the underwriting, and I want to get back to them because this could help other people out there. So,
exactly. You were being very specific, and that just grabs people's attention, and it draws people like, hey, I actually want to answer, because like you said, it's very specific and it's different and unique. So that's a great takeaway for audience: is don't be generic and weak, be specific and strong. And
that's how I think I stood out to Pili in the first place, because I would always go up and ask those questions that would start a bigger conversation, and she could see that I was determined to understand and wanted to know more, and that's why she even took me on in the first place.
So why did you go with Clubhouse? Because I've not been on Clubhouse. I know of it, but I've not been on there. But I feel like there's good arbitrage on there since it's a new hot platform. But I'm an outsider on that platform. Also,
like with the real estate conferences and COVID, like that probably wasn't happening. So I probably lucked out where I didn't have to go to those real estate conferences, and I could still learn what I wanted to learn and meet the people that I wanted to meet on there through the Clubhouse app, just by introducing myself. And the more time that I went on there, the more time people got to recognize my face and know who I am. So I think it was super vital to my success.
So give one tactical takeaway, like a must do, or looking back, like advice to yourself a year later to, like, you know, another young woman out there wanting to make those connections. Like, what advice would you give to that person?
I would say stay consistent, continue to follow up, even if you're not getting the results. I would say be able to embrace discomfort. Getting out of your comfort zone, I think, is a huge thing, especially if you don't know how it's going to end up. I think that success lies on the other side of fear, and you just need to put yourself in those weird positions, because it's one of those things you can look back onto your past and be like, I've succeeded in this, this, and this. Therefore, why can't I do this? Like, I was doing summer sales, and I was constantly getting rejected all the time. Like 99% of the time, I built a lot of resilience and confidence to just, okay, I know what I'm saying. I know what I need to get across. I know what rejection feels like, and I'm just going to pick myself up and do it again, because it's going to eventually pay off.
I want to ask, because that door-to-door sales, like I've done not door-to-door sales, but similar ones, like those are tough. They give you thick skin.
You up.
How important do you think that was, though, just in your evolution as, you know, a person, your personal development, just, you know, getting those business jobs?
I think that it was the turning point of realizing what my potential was and how I could translate that into the real estate community, but also translate it into every sector of my life. Because I think that once you do door-to-door sales, you can do anything. After you're in Florida 110, everyone's like, get off my porch, and you're just like, I think that you can do anything, honestly. So when I come across a challenge, I'm like, I got this.
So paint a picture for the audience, because I think that the 18-year-old Alessandra is in LA, lives in a great neighborhood, has a lot of fun. There's all kinds of opportunities to go and have fun. And they're sitting there at their job, at their desk, and they're like, there's something more I want to do. So paint the picture of like what it looked like to be going door to door selling solar panels in the middle of summer, in the middle of COVID. Like, really, you know, what did it look like at 6 a.m.? What did you have to tell yourself, like, every morning getting up out of bed? Like, what, you know, walk through what it was like and what you had to tell yourself mentally every day to do that.
Yeah, it was definitely a struggle, but at the end, like, I don't regret any of it. I think it was what made me stronger, and I also really enjoyed it, like PTSD, but also like a good kind. And I was actually working my marketing job at the same time, so I'd do my marketing job in the morning, and then I'd do the solar panels. But for me, I was just in my head like, what, I can do so many things that the world has put in front of me if I just show, like, a lot of self-affirmations I think has been helpful, because I'm more of a shy person, but I also want to be able to prove to myself that I'm capable of doing anything that I put my mind to. And so I just really push myself in a, not a horrible, like, not a bad way, but like in a good way of.
So do you have like a morning routine or affirmations you would say before you kind of get yourself, like, you know, in the zone? Because it's, I mean, You're out there,
Yeah.
you're playing a sport. It's, it's knocking on doors and it's a numbers game.
Yeah.
Like, what would you do to mentally prepare yourself and build up your self-confidence? Because it's tough.
It's tough. I actually wake up really early. I wake up at like 4 a.m. and so I love walking. I work out, I go on a walk, and then I can either journal or I'll listen to a podcast. I'll listen to self-affirmations, just something to show myself that like I am capable of doing these things. A lot of there's like self-affirmations, honestly. But
Are you saying those out loud to yourself?
no, I actually listened to this YouTube one. I'll send you the link, but it's just really nice to be like, okay, the world is not, I think that every path that we're taking is something that is put out in front of us, and we just need to cross that barrier of staying in a comfort zone and being like, oh, I'm comfortable and stagnant here versus like, okay, I can do this next thing if I just tell myself I can do this next thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. You were in my office yesterday, and on one of the walls, I have like all these addresses from Denver and Des Moines that I've bought and sold.
Yeah.
And it's such a great reminder for me when I'm in there that I can look at an address and remember like certain challenges.
Yeah.
And in my mind, subliminally, I say to myself, if I was able to get through that challenge on that address in that
Mhm.
period of my life, I can do what I'm doing now. You
Yeah.
and I talked about that. And I think that's like so powerful to have something in front of you every day that allows you to go back and remember the wins. Because
Yeah.
it's like, it's a building blocks, right? It's like if I did A,
snowball effect.
I can do B,
Yeah.
I can do C, I can do D. And then you look back and it's like, man, I've built like this massive company or building or whatever it is as a metaphor so that I
Yeah.
can do the next thing. I can climb the next mountain because look at all the, small foothills that I've done previously and all the challenges I overcame. So, to give a recap a little bit of, you were in LA, it's COVID, you want to do something else. So you went to Florida with your brother, we're selling solar panels in the middle of the humid summer, taking all kinds of rejection. And at night, you're getting on social media. What, every night? Every night?
Probably like every night. Like when I drove, so then I moved to Utah and then I was really on there. And then when I drove from Los Angeles to Tennessee, I was on it for 4 days straight.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So you're on Clubhouse, you meet this lady named Pili, who is a multifamily operator. They started out flipping homes, similar to myself. Now they own thousands of units.
Yeah.
They've done tremendously well. And you were reaching out to her, asking relevant questions. You got her attention. And then what happened? Because I think this story is incredible how she basically just gave you an open door to like interview her. And then you drove from LA to Nashville, packed up all your stuff without even having a job offer or anything concrete. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I was in Utah and I realized I was like, okay, I'm going to go into the multifamily and then just figuring out what's my next move going to be. And so I finally got an appointment on her calendar, which was like weeks out, but still just kept joining those rooms and talking to her. She knew me at this point and she's like, I'm excited to have our call. And so when I did finally have the call, she was like, well, if you're ever in Nashville, like just let us know and we'd love to just meet you and everything. And my brain was like, that sounds like she invited me to Nashville. So I drove from Utah to Los Angeles, packed up all my stuff and then drove to Nashville, hoping that like, I'm just going to hope that something happens. And if it doesn't, then I'm going to figure it out when I get there.
So you packed up your household, your belongings,
yeah.
huh?
Well, all my clothes and my pillows and stuff like that. And so,
Dude, that's cool.
Yeah, I got there and then I was just
Did you have a meeting set?
No, I was like, what did I do? What have I done? I got there and I was like, I'm here. And it was probably like 4 days. She probably thought I was a freak. But then we met and she told me that her assistant had to move home like 2 days before. And so she's like, we have an open position. If you want to take it, we'll give it to you. Like I think that what I was saying earlier of like proving my determination and that I'm in this not just to, hey, I want a mentor, but like I want to learn this from the ground up and prove to you that I can provide value, but also just we can provide value for each other. And I have to just remind myself of that because I've definitely taken off a workload of them, but I have gotten so much knowledge and education from them to be able to move forward in my future. And so I've been living there since March. I just started in the multifamily world. And then I got my first deal in Arkansas on July 8th and raising capital for another deal now. And I'm just so happy to be here. I love the space.
Okay. So that was an amazing story. So you packed up. I just want to summarize for everybody listening. So you're on Clubhouse. You're showing up every day. You build a relationship with Pili. You guys are talking. You have a phone call with her. It goes great. And she says, if you're ever in Nashville, to hit me up. I'd love to meet with you. Mm-hmm. So then instead of like saying, okay, in 6 months, I'm going to go to Nashville and hit her up, you went back to LA, packed up all your stuff, and we're in Nashville 4 days after that phone call.
Yeah.
And then hit her up. You guys have coffee, and she, by chance, the timing really worked out for you. This is what I love, is like you really bet on yourself and took a chance without any guarantees. And she happened to say, oh, by the way, my assistant's leaving and we have an open position. So now you work for this company and family full time, having really zero experience, but you made some money in solar. So you had some savings, knew that you wanted to invest in multifamily. So you get the job in March, and then you guys, you close your first deal in June?
July 8th.
July 8th.
Yeah.
And it was, so walk us through the deal, how you guys found it, your role in the deal, and how that's going now.
Yes. So I am the underwriter, and I help with asset management with the company. And then so we found the deal through a lender relationship. He's our main lender. And then And
what does that mean? He's a lender. So is he local to Nashville, or he works for Freddie or Fannie, or what? Like, is he a broker?
He's a broker.
Okay,
so
cool.
he grew up in Little Rock, Arkansas, in the Hillcrest region, which is a really desirable neighborhood. And one of his friends is a broker over there. And he said that, hey, there's this 36 unit on the MLS. It's a residential, but you guys should take a look at it. The location is great. So we passed it along to us. We underwrote it, and we were able to just go down to Little Rock, Arkansas, check it out. It is a 18 unit, 7 unit, 6, 3 and 2, 1931 build. So it's a little bit older, but
so it's 18 two bedrooms? Or 18
they're all okay. So it's all 1 bedrooms and then 1 3-bedroom, but they're 800.
But one building?
No, 6 buildings.
Okay.
So there are 19 of the 36 are on month-to-month leases. It's also 850 square feet, and it's laid out in a way that we can honestly put in a second bedroom. And
so they're really big 1-bedrooms currently.
They're huge, yeah. And so 19 of the 36 are month-to-month leases, so we're able to just kind of go through the tenant base. There's a lot of balances that we were able to just clean it up a little bit. And
so talk about the unit mix. So they're 19, so they're 36 1-bedrooms.
Yeah,
they're
35,
800, 35 1-bedrooms and 1 3-bedroom.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're all 835 square feet.
850 square feet.
850 square feet. So
their layout is well enough to just be able to cut the living room into a 2-bedroom house. So we're entertaining that offer.
Great.
Yeah.
So you walked it, and immediately you saw, here's an opportunity to add value, because we could take the 1s and turn them into 2s and still have a comfortable layout.
Yeah. And so some of the building needs work. So we had 4 vacant units. We immediately went in, got our contractor to do the painting, do the flooring. We had a mold removal issue, but we're remediating that right now. We also put in new signage. We're adding a pergola. The rents were at $650, and the market warrants at $950. So we're already leasing them out at $950.
And that's the 1-bedrooms went from $650 to $950.
1-bedrooms.
And the 2-bedrooms, you think you'll get what?
The 3-bedroom is we will probably get like $1,025, and immediately, like, everyone's paying like $650, and we're billing back for water and pest. And yeah, it's been going really well. We had to replace the property management company. We're actually replacing the newer property management company. So we've gone through 2 just because of lack of communication. And so we've kind of just been managing it ourselves, which I think has been really helpful for my own success, because there's another property that we have. It's in Murfreesboro, and it's going so smoothly.
That's in Arkansas too?
No, this one's in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. It's so smooth that I don't even know what's going on. Like, they're like, oh no, it's just running well, like really well. And so this Little Rock, Arkansas one, because we're going through all of these trials and tribulations, it's really helpful for me to know, okay, this is what could go wrong. This is how I can face it in the future, and just trying to understand like that construction and the asset management side of everything as well. So
talk a little bit about property management, because that's one of the things that's super difficult. You find a deal out of state, the numbers all look really good. There's plenty of room to grow the rent roll, to lower expenses, and then you're already, so in what, 4 months, you're on your 3rd property management company?
The 3rd one, yeah.
So have you hired them? Are you interviewing, or how's that process going?
We've hired them, so they're on board. The transition's actually going to be happening on Monday, and we just had an issue with communication, so we couldn't really get in touch with our property manager at the time of like, hey, we need to make sure that the landscaping is done. Why is there so much trash outside? And so we started calling those companies ourselves. We have our contractor on call who ended up not even wanting to speak to the property manager because no one could get a hold of her. And it was just a struggle. So we had to move forward, and no bad blood or anything. And we've just been able to honestly see this from our side and implement a lot of our own programs. So like we got a new laundry contract system. We have an energy efficiency program. So we're replacing everything with, they're figuring out where the flaws are, and we're able to save a lot of money on the electricity. And we have put in air duct sealing and smart thermostats and all of the, saving a lot of money.
That's great.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it's not like a major construction value add, but more just raising rents, being more efficient, doing some cosmetic upgrades. Am I understanding that correctly?
There's an 18 unit, which does need a lot of heavy lifting. So we're doing a lot of installing new vanities and kitchen spaces and lights and just replacing a lot of old amenities and seeing where we can go from there. Yeah.
Love it. And then you took rents from $650 to $950.
$950.
Got it. Cool.
Yeah.
So tell me what's next. So you just started this job in March. You closed on this deal July 8th. You're the asset manager. So you're communicating with property management and the construction.
Yeah.
So you're heavily involved. And where are you going from here? What's next for Alessandra and what you're working on?
Right now, I am just working with Jason and Pili. We are going to continue to grow and also raising capital on my first deal, which is really exciting. It's a whole different space. I'm more of like the underwriting asset management, but I'm putting myself in one of those positions of discomfort because I know I can do it. So it's going really well. And then just hoping to get the next deal over in Nashville, Tennessee. And we will continue growing.
Sounds great. So I love your story. So to summarize, right, the three things that I think everyone can take away from Alessandra's story is, a year and a half ago, you owned 0 units, had no experience, right? A year ago, you had no experience.
Yeah.
And you were just starting to think about wanting to get a different job, get into real estate and get out of a 9-to-5. And then COVID, you're in the middle of COVID, you go to Florida, right? Mm-hmm. You're on social media, you're consistent, you're checking on it every night, you're showing up into chat rooms, you're on the app Clubhouse, and you practice getting out of your comfort zone. So you're reaching out to people, you're following up with people you don't know, even when they're not responding, right? And that lands you this incredible opportunity with Pili. You get on the phone with her, she invites you out there, you get this job, and she went from being a mentor to now like your boss and partner.
Jason and Pili are like my family now. They're the best.
Incredible. Yeah. And so you have a 36 unit you're currently managing in Little Rock, and you have another deal. How big is the deal?
This one is going to be 76 units, and then hopefully getting a Nashville one this week. So
awesome. Wow. So you're
Momentum.
doing deals, you're raising money, you're growing your knowledge base on property management and in the entire space. And I couldn't be more proud of what you're 25 years old.
I'm 25. Yeah.
25 years old, totally crushing it. And, that's what this show is all about is being able to inspire, give hope, and challenge people that are out there that are on their couch, that are working a 9-to-5 that maybe they're not fulfilled in, and showing them what the opportunity and potential is out there for them.
Yeah. And I definitely think that starts with taking action and just believing in yourself to do something more than what you're currently doing. So, yeah.
Love it. So stay tuned for the second episode. Alessandra, we're going to walk a 14 unit in Denver. That's a value add deal. It's off market. You're going to hear Alessandra's 7 underwriting tips, how she underwrites deals currently. And I think it's going to be incredible. And then Alessandra and Chris are going to sit down at the computer and go through the underwriting from a spreadsheet perspective. So we're going to walk the property and then also see it on a spreadsheet. So those of you out there that are wondering, how do I underwrite deals? How can I get started? Alessandra's got 7 easy steps for how to underwrite.
I'll break it down.
Can't wait.
She breaks it down. Boom.
All right, YouTube, check it out. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave comments, and we'll be reaching out. See you guys in episode 2. You're listening to the Multifamily Mentor Show.
Join the conversation.